The abundance of everything disturbs me. This is why the less plays a central, vital role in the approach I have gradually elaborated. In my opinion, the less is a way out, an exit, or even maybe the way out. This is why in the present context, removing is a major gesture. This idea can be summarized in a few words. Too much of everything, lust for less. Through two identities, IKEA services and bleach, a lot more of less. The term bleach signifies malfunction. I spread services. And this is what I call a service, instructions that are waiting to be put into practice, to be used. For example, slow-mo, the decelerator, to act with an exaggerated slowness. My services privilege experience, assuming their full meaning in the leap from speculation to execution. They do their best to trip up routine. In place of a limited but profitable commodity art, they propose the open-ended, evolving principle of services, a collaborative effort based on a radical element of nasty surprises. It is a story in the making, and each new participation contributes an additional episode. In other words, through IKEA services and bleach, I remove, I diminish, I fed, I destroy, I undermine, I lighten down. I conceive art at the straight opposite of assertions, and I am not particularly worried about art. My attitude is the incarnation of a way to be in the world in which art is only a stage. For the Biennale de Paris, the mindset is exactly the same, and in one sense, its whole activity can be perceived as a big subtraction. The history of the ideas presents several episodes of this lust for less. Hegel expresses lust for less when he invites us to find strength in looking at the negative right in the eye, 1807. Adolf Loos expresses lust for less when he claims, I have freed humanity from the superfluous ornament, 1930. Fred Sambach when he inspires sculpture with the less is more spirit during the 60s. Douglas Weber when he announces in 1968, the world is full of objects more or less interesting, I do not wish to add any more. I prefer simply to state the existence of things in terms of time and or place. Nearer to us in the 90s, Bernard Roulon, you will listen to him after me, expresses lust for less as well when he states the motto for his company, and Alexandre has already quoted that's Painting Productions. With less to look out, there's more to think about. 3 special examples have left marks on my approach. Carmelo Bene, Gustave Metzger, and Ivan Illich. When he removes Romeo from Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet in 1976, Carmelo Bene commits a crime and reveals an obvious fact at the same time, dilating one seemingly essential character to the story is a way to boost or to restart the story. Romeo's disappearance reinforces another character, Mercutio. So Romeo disappears, Mercutio appears, and this was in 1976. With the Auto-Destructive Arts Manifesto written in 1959, Gustave Metzger pushes art practice under hero. For him, art practice is the best place to welcome human negativity. I quote, "Auto-destructive art is not simply the therapeutic instrument of a frustrated iconoclast, but a coherent, necessary phase in the development of art. Indeed, it is remarkable that this idea emerged so late in the century." In Tools for Conviviality, 1973, Ivan Illich criticizes fiercely the foundation of human modernity. Better than everyone else, he shows how, in the near future, it will be necessary to recognize natural scales and limits. We must come to admit that only within limits can machines take the place of slaves. Beyond these limits, they lead a new kind of circle. He tackles our taste for the excess and proposes to quickly put an end to growth mania. Alas, nothing changed since the 70s. Against unlimited mass production, which is responsible for unlimited tools, he imagines austerity, which paradoxically is not severe but convivial. The word was chosen by Illich to designate the opposite of industrial productivity. I quote, "People must learn to live within bounds. Survival depends on people learning fast what they cannot do. They must learn to abstain from unlimited progeny, consumption and use." If, as Illich does, we consider that the decrease is an urgency, it is obvious that art practices are moving about in the wrong way. Cultural spaces are today as filled with art objects as they were in the 19th century, or even more. Here you can see a photo of a typical exhibition in Paris that was in Grand Palais 2 years ago. It's a kind of art fair called Force de l'Art. It's a Campus event. Let's see how the less appears in my practice. Presently, I would like to explore the service slow-mo, the decelerator evoked earlier in my talk. The service belongs to the collection of the Centre National des Arts Plastiques in Paris. To act with an exaggerated slowness, this is how these instructions for use have been applied in various circumstances I describe now. In the context of an inauguration in 2008, the activation of the service consisted in slowing down, without somebody knowing it, the work of a waiter who was in charge of a buffet predominantly filled with drinks. More than 2 days of training were necessary to make imperceptible this speedful action in order to erase its funny aspects. Here are the strategies employed on the D-Day to achieve the ends. Only a single person was selected to be on duty, even though numerous guests were in attendance. The waiter had an insufficient number of glasses and was, for that precise reason, often compelled to leave the place where he was serving in order to wash a few glasses. You can see that on the pictures. Unfortunately, it was in the restroom. So it was absolutely awful. After that, it was of course necessary to dry these glasses and then to give them out to a growling crowd. The buffet was endowed with only one blunt corkscrew, that you can see here, right side, top. After 2 hours of madness, this almost ideal execution of slow-mo finished brutally when some slowness objectors bought some plastic caps in a next-door grassy shop. So you can see the pictures here, the process of the exhibition and the waiter slowing down and all the problems provoked by the activation of the service. In 2010, in a different place, the experience consisting in slowing down a waiter during an opening was attempted for a second time. Of course, the exhibition is still viewable. You can see it here on the left side top, but it is clear that it has been relegated to the background, and I was not clearly part of it anymore. The crucial thing happens somewhere else. In my opinion, this picture describes very well the leap, or should I say, the fall of the spectator, when he leaves the rapture of the exhibition to embrace the unkind reality of the vernissage buffet. As well, in 2010, the service was put into practice on the occasion of a huge cultural event. This time it was between Toulouse and Paris. My idea was to propose to people working for this event to slow down. An offer that caused, of course, several small disasters in the organization of that event. For example, delayed tasks. And here it was in Paris, the cleaning up was not done when the opening was beginning. I have written a variant of slow-mo. I have named it To Waste One's Time. The instructions for use of this service are very simple. To put it into practice, you just have to waste your time to squander it. It is maybe interesting to put to waste one's time into practice here in the United States, where the expression "time is money" is particularly appreciated. Each second, about 20 works of art are created in the world, according to an estimation realized by Caroline Kepigurita this year in 2009 as a part of the Biennale de Paris. You can find this on the website. Because of that, at the start of this new century, and I think that you are concerned because you are students, isn't it lust for less, a justified desire? I showed how the less had sporadically punctuated the history of the ideas. I think that it is time to go further now by making the less a cause at the center of our continuous effort.
Now we would take...
Artists have embellished the world with more or less convincing art products. Today, the best effort an artist can make is to lighten down the world. And it costs less than you think, of course. And I'm finishing, it's finished now. On advertising, I let you read and then I give you my address if you want to write, to get in touch with me. Thank you.